Start with a general overview about OpenStreetMap and the OpenStreetMap ecosystem. So you already see like the classic map of OpenStreetMap, but I will try to explain you that OpenStreetMap is actually much more than a map, because like OpenStreetMap is primarily a database, which you can also display as a map, but you don't have to. So I start a little bit technically. So in OpenStreetMap you have different data types, and most of you probably know the simple feature models, but OpenStreetMap doesn't use them. OpenStreetMap has an own system, and this makes sure that all features have correct topology. So there's like the three types. It's like a node, way, and a relation. So let's start with the simplest one. It's a node is basically just a point with a coordinate and a number of tags. So for example here it's like a little sign which is close to here. And yeah, in OpenStreetMap we have a lot of nodes, and it's the kind of the basic component where all data consists of. So the next one is it's a way. Way is basically a collection of nodes, which also stores some tags. So in this case, like this is the building where we just are located in, and here you can see the nodes. And one important thing to know is actually that a way doesn't store the geometry itself, or like it doesn't store any coordinates, but only references nodes which store the coordinates. And then, or just like some more examples. So for a way, it's usually like a line, but can also be like a closed line. In this case, it's like a simple polygon without any holes, or like a street or river. This is all usually a way. And now the last data type is a relation. It's a little bit more complicated, because a relation is a collection of like nodes, ways, and also relation itself. So, and one example is, for example, you have a bus line. So it's bus 24 in Salzburg, and it actually consists of like bus stops, which are points, then like the route, which is like ways, and yeah, this is just like a object. A more complex object. And another example is, for example, if you have polygons with holes inside, then you have a relation with like the outline as a way and like the holes as ways. Yeah. Then, so far some words about the data types, and the next thing is like the tags in OpenStreetMap. So there is no central instance or person or committee who is defining these tags. It's just everything is bottom up. So you can just register at OpenStreetMap for free, obviously, and you can directly edit something and then invent your own tag if you want to. Of course, there's already some predefined tags which you can find like on the OpenStreetMap wiki, and yeah, it's basically you always have like a string which also as a key, and the value is always also a string. So for example, when you have a mountain with elevation, you could expect that the value is actually an integer, but actually you could also write just the letters inside. There will not, like, it's totally allowed, but obviously it doesn't make much sense, but it's possible. And another important thing to know is actually that since there's no central organization who is defining these tags, sometimes there's for one the same thing, there's like different ways how you can actually map it. So you have, in some countries you map like a river like this, or like river is not a good example, but there's some other like objects which are where's a kind of argument how to tag it. So in one country or one region you map it like this, and the other one you map it like this, and even like in the same regions you can have it in different. For example, if you have like a pavement, like a way for walking for pedestrians, sometimes you have it like external geometry, and sometimes you have it like attached to the main street, only as a tag. So there's a lot of variation, and it's of course a little bit messy, but this ensures that the OpenStreetMap data model, data structure stays really dynamic, and people can just edit it. And then the next important thing is like a change set. It's if you edit something, it's just like the collections of all your changes, and I will try to show you one. So, for example, I have to find my mouse. So here, for example, is Traficon company, and here you can see the change sets. And when this Traficon was edited last time, there were also some other things mapped. And then, for example, you see the person who mapped it, and then if I have a question, I can just comment, and then the mapper who edited this can also respond, and then there's like some conversation going on, and you can do this for hello. Yeah, you can do this for all data which is inside OpenStreetMap. You see who changed it and which change set it was, and which other features have been edited. So, and then another concept. This is like, it's a node, like not confused with the data type node. It's like more like notification. So it's just if you see a problem on the map, you can simply make a pin on it and say, here's a problem, and tell it, just write it down, and then someone else can change it. And the cool thing is you don't even have to be registered. So if you just discover something and quickly want to just notify that there's, let's say, the shop doesn't exist anymore, then you just make this pinpoint, say the shop is closed, and then someone else who's motivated can do this. Then about the license. So of course OpenStreetMap data is open, but there are some restrictions. So of course you can download it and modify and so on, but you have to always attribute it. It's like the open database license. And of course I'm not a lawyer, so you should actually read the official documentation. But one important thing is you're not allowed to mix it with closed data. So for example, like a big map provider is not allowed to take OpenStreetMap and just include it in their own data, and that's not allowed. So if a big map provider says, okay, we want to have OpenStreetMap, then they have to open all of their data as well, otherwise it's not allowed. Okay, then some theory, and now I will show you how to edit OpenStreetMap data. So I start with the most important program. It's called JOSM. It's like a desktop program written in Java, so it runs on all operating systems, and it's like the most powerful OpenStreetMap editing tool. It has like a lot of plugins and is actively maintained. At the beginning it's a little bit challenging to get inside, but it's basically like every other desktop GIS, like QGIS or so. And yeah, you can add some additional layers in the background and also trace from them if you're allowed to do so, because there are some data sources where you're allowed to trace OpenStreetMap from. And so this is basically the ultimate tool to go if you really want to get serious with OpenStreetMap. And another thing for computers is like the ID editor, and the cool thing is it runs in the browser, so you don't have to install anything. And I find the user interface really simple and easy. So if you just want to do some quick changes, then just use the ID editor. You can directly find it on the OpenStreetMap website. And of course you can also edit OpenStreetMap data on mobile devices, so especially Android. So here this is the Vespucci editor. It's a little bit like JOSM. It's a lot of features, and at the beginning it's a little bit overwhelming, but it's really powerful and you can do anything you want. And this is another one which is really cool. It's you don't actually edit the data at the moment. You just make notes. So you start a track, and then it records your GPS trace, and then you can take a audio recording or take a picture or just a written note, or you can choose from some predefined tags. And the interesting thing is you can export this, and then you can import it in JOSM. Here, for example, I was hiking last weekend, and like the pink track is mine, so I was taking pictures and did some notes, and then you can just click on the picture and you see it in the program, and you can edit, or you can listen to your audio recordings or your notes, and yeah. And it works actually quite simple. And actually, if you want to have it even more simple, then you can use Street Complete. It's more like a game. So very simple user interface. You just open it, and then it zooms to your current location, and then you see these pins here, and these are little tasks. For example, here this asks, is this a one-way road? And you can say yes, no, or I don't know, and then just edit it, then upload, and then it's done. So very, very simple and easy to do. And then last, there's two very interesting apps. So it's called Maps.me and Osment. Both are kind of similar. Both can download OpenStreetMap data offline, so you can you don't need any mobile data and can navigate. And both also have like limited functionality to edit the OpenStreetMap data. Then so far like about to edit, and then some tool how to actually view data, what has changed recently. So this is a really cool tool. You just can go to a specific region and ask like what has changed within the last month or week. So open it up. So here, for example, we go a little bit closer. We are here right now, and okay, we can see like in the last week, this here has changed, or this, and here you can just details for the hospital, and you can click on it and then see what the mapper did, and if you have a question, just comment. And yeah, so this is a really good tool just to monitor what happens. And a lot of people use this tool to just monitor if there's everything what has been mapped does make sense. So of course there's some happens that people do some bad edits or even vandalism, and with this tool you can easily find it. But there's also some automatic quality assurance tools. For example, Osmose, it's a French project, and you just see the map and see a lot of pinpoints with some automatically issues. So they just take the whole planet of OpenStreetMap and run it through a program, and then display all the errors, and people can change it. There's also another one from GeoFabrik, a really important company which deals with OpenStreetMap data, and they also show a lot of errors on the OpenStreetMap website. Then how to download. There's GeoFabrik is in my opinion, the most powerful one. You can download this as a OpenStreetMap file or also shapefile, and BB Bike is you can also download in some more exotic data types, and Planet OpenStreetMap is the official repository where you can download like the really 70 gigabyte of the whole world, so you can have everything on your computer. So then how to process OpenStreetMap data. One very needed feature is like how to do route planning, and there's a lot of open source software. So Grasshopper is a Java-based routing engine, OSRM, C++, Valhalla also C++, and PG Routing is an extension for the PostGIS database. And actually, I know Grasshopper very well, and it's really easy to set up. So with like just a few commands on a command line, you can actually build your routing graph for like a whole country and even do routing, and it's incredibly fast. OSRM is also really, really fast, and Valhalla as well, and really powerful, and they're all evolving. So, and they're quite simple to set up. So if you're a student and looking for a student project, this is just very easy to get into. And PG Routing is a little bit special. It's slower, than the 3 other ones, but you can do much more specialized routing queries. So it also has its purpose, but it's much slower. So if you want to have like a like a routing service for the whole world, which is really fast, then you should probably use Grasshopper OSRM or Valhalla. Then there's also some routing services on the web. So the most for OpenStreetMap, the most popular one is OpenRoute service. It's operated by the University of Heidelberg, and it has a lot of features. So especially you can choose from a variety of profiles. So you have different car profiles, bus, bike, e-bike, pedestrian, hiker, wheelchair. And you even can see like the surfaces on which you're on, and also the elevation, and everything is comes directly from the OpenStreetMap data, and you can import or export everything as GPX. So if you're planning a bike trip, you can use this. It's really cool. Then the last thing I want to show you is Overpass API. So it's a query language especially targeted to the OpenStreetMap data model, and yeah, it's not related to any other language I know. So you would think SQL is interesting, but apparently for OpenStreetMap data, SQL is not really good. And yeah, for example, here you can just amend drinking water. I just did it for Salzburg, so you have all drinking water places, but you can do really complex queries inside. And this is one thing Nico is an expert in. So then I want to finish my talk, and then Nico will continue then. Yeah, thanks.